Hey guys, welcome back to Casey's House of Glamour. Today we're going to do a pink and kind of turquoise cut crease, and this is going to be a whole Valentine's Day theme. So I hope you guys like it and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, so to start off we used the Morphe M432 brush to cut my brows with the Tarte Shape Tape in light neutral. And from that, I'm going to bring it down to start blending out to get a base going for shadow. Using that same shade of Shape Tape, I'm going to apply that to my lids as an eyeshadow primer. Since I forgot to moisturize at the beginning, I'm using the Touch of Soul Glassy Skin and the Embryolisse cream just to get a moisturizer down. To start with shadow, we're going to use the shade Bubblegum from the Jawbreaker palette with this Wet n Wild brush that you can basically find anywhere in Dollar Tree, and we're going to press this into the lid without technically blending it. We're kind of just trying to set a base down to get a good transition shade. Then using the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH31 brush, we're going to use that to blend out the edge of the shade Bubblegum. From there, I went back in with the same Wet n Wild brush and the Jaclyn Hill brush and kind of just go back and forth to just blend out the shadow and make sure we don't have any harsh lines. I then dipped into the Jeffree Star Morphe palette with the shade Self-Made in that same Wet n Wild brush, and this is just like a darker pink. And this is going to start giving us that deep fuchsia color we're looking for. Then went back into the Jawbreaker palette in the shade Gumdrop with that same Jaclyn Hill brush to start adding the purple to the crease, so when we cut it, you'll be able to see just a slight shade of purple. Here I went back in with that same Wet n Wild brush with no extra product on it and just blended the two shades together. I then went in with the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH30 brush and blended everything together. This had no product on it and it just makes sure there's no harsh lines. I then used this brush that came in with my Naked Cherry palette and the shade Raspberry from the Jawbreaker palette and use this to start darkening my outer corner. I then went back in with that same Jaclyn Hill brush without any more product on it and just blended everything together. I then went back in with the shade Tasty from the Jawbreaker palette to kind of deepen the outer corner using that same brush from the Naked Cherry palette. I then went back in and added just a little bit more of the Gumdrop shade just to make sure we did not lose any of that purple. I then used this brush from a set I got from BH Cosmetics quite a while ago, and I love to use this to cut creases. I'm using the same Shape Tape concealer, and I just go a little bit over my eyes. Since I do have hooded eyes, I like to go a little bit over so when my eyes are open, you could still see the cut crease. Once the two lids are even, I go in with my finger and just blend out the outer corners. I then went back in with the shade Snack and this brush by Sedona Lace number 954, and I sprayed it with the Mario Badescu spray just to make sure the metallic really stood out for the crease. To blend in the shade Snack with the outer corner, I went back in with the Wet n Wild brush. I did not add any more product, but I did swirl the shades together just to make sure that it all blended seamlessly. From here, using the same brush that I used to cut my brows, I'm going in with the Shape Tape Concealer to clean up this area for the turquoise color we will be applying. I want to make sure I didn't get it mixed in with this pink and that it stood out on its own. Now for color, I went into the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette with the shade Jada and the Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush JH43, and I'm going to start packing this color into just this line. I did start off really light, and then from there I did just keep deepening the color with just more and more and more until I got the color. Now for the glitter, I had to start with my lash glue, and I used a clear side on this set and just traced the line of the cut crease. Once both sides were even, I went in with the NYX glitter in the shade Lumi Light, and I just went back over only where the glue was and made sure to just stay in that line so that it did not transfer to the pink on the top nor the pink on the bottom. For the eyeliner, I went in with the NYX matte eyeliner, and this is a liquid with a brush. I wanted to make sure not to have a thick wing on the outside because I did not want to lose any of that turquoise color. So my wing was a little thicker, more on the outside, and then very, very thin on the inside. Once my lashes were curled, I went in with the Pimell Essence Mascara Base. This is amazing. If you have a hard time keeping your lashes curled, this will stay for days. Now to give my eyebrows some life, I went in with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, and this is in the shade Espresso. This has actually been one of my favorites since I got it. and I just went in and kind of followed the same shape and just blended it all out. Now for primer, I went in with the e.l.f. Putty Primer. I use this only on the center of my face where I know I have more problems with my pores. And for the rest of my face, I do go in with a different primer. I like to use the Too Faced Hangover Primer and use this basically on the entire outside of my face where I know I'm a little more dry, and it just brings that hydration back in. Now for my real mascara, I went in with the Essence Princess Volume Mascara and just put this over the Pamel mascara base. Now to help with the color correction, I use the NYX Under Eye Concealer. It doesn't really have a name, it just comes like in a little jar and it has this little peachy tone. So I use that under my eyes and around my mouth where I know I have quite a bit of darkness, and it just helps to cancel out that color. This is not what I use for concealer, it's just more of a base. Now for foundation, I'm going to go in with the Lancome Tint Idole, I think is what it's called, with the Real Technique sponge that has been dampened and squeezed out with all the excess water, and I'm using that to apply all the foundation. For under eye concealer, I'm using the Shape Tape in medium light and light neutral, and for contour, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me foundation stick in Toffee. So from here, I hadn't realized my battery died, but you guys missed me doing my under eye and basically all my powder to set my face. And then for the bronzer, I used the Milani in the shade Soleil and Dolce. But from here, I am using my blushes in the Scott Barnes palette. The shades are Minimalist, Mango Fizz, and Rosé. I then went in and topped it off with the peach shade that's called Glowy in that same palette. To set my under eye, I did use the Laura Mercier powder with my Real Technique sponge, and for my entire face, I used the same powder with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe brush JH01. I then went in with the Morphe spray and set my entire face. For lashes, I get them off Amazon. The brand is called Lash Goose in the style A06 and the Lash Duo Glue. For highlighter, I went in with the Too Faced Natural Face palette and used the shades Satin Sheets and Starlight. To highlight my inner corner and my brow bone, I used the same Too Faced Natural Face highlighter. For lips, I went in with the KKW Beauty Lip Liner in the shade Nude 1.5. From there, I used the same KKW Beauty lipstick in the shade 90s Style. And then just to add a little bit of pink, I went in with the Jeffree Star Shane Dawson lipstick in Oh My God and just tapped that in with my finger. And to top it off, I used the ColourPop lip gloss in the shade Bestie. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you guys liked it. Unfortunately, I was in a rush to leave. I was already running late for a party, and so I didn't get really good pictures or videos for you guys, but I hope you like it. And if you haven't already, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll be doing weekly videos for you guys. Thanks.